Richard Wagner, the single most important and impactful operatic composer in music history. That's what this chapter is all about. In fact, when historians discuss the history of opera, Wagner is the single point at which they discuss it. It's either pre-Wagner or post-Wagner. Right? That's how operatic history is discussed in terms of its timeline. So why is he such a big deal? Well, first of all, the Germanic operatic tradition really didn't exist until Wagner came around. And more importantly, he kind of changed what opera was. He thought Italian opera was silly. It's all about the singer. The orchestra is not really important. The acting doesn't really matter. Just sing a pretty tune and that's all that matters. And he thought French opera was the same. He thought Mozartian opera or Austrian opera was kind of similar. And so he wanted to create a new approach. In fact, he wouldn't even call operas operas. He called his works music dramas. Because what he did is he combined all of the arts necessary for an operatic production. Acting, lights, sets, costumes, makeup, singing, orchestral instruments. He put them all together and said, okay, you're all equal. You're all important. And what we're doing is we're not creating an opera. We're creating this music drama where all of the arts come together to create the whole or the total artwork. In German, Gesamtkunstwerk. Right, which really literally means total, Gesamt, art, Kunst, Werk, work, Gesamtkunstwerk, total artwork. So how did he establish this? How did he do this? Well, one of the things he did is he actually kind of hitchhiked on Berlioz's idea of the idée fixe. In his operas, he creates the leitmotif, or the leitmotif, a melody that connects specifically to a character or a relationship between characters, or maybe an inanimate object like a magic ring, perhaps, or any other variety of things. And every time that ring or person or characters come on stage, you hear that melody. And so subconsciously, it's reminding you who these people are, why they're important, why the story's being told. And quite honestly, you see it every day. Every single day when you go to the movies. Let's take The Lord of the Rings, for example, which, by the way, J.R.R. Tolkien got a lot of his story from Wagner's Ring Cycle, which this chapter deals with. But let's look at those Lord of the Rings movies. If you've ever seen them before, at the very beginning, the little hobbits, Frodo and Sam, they're in the Shire, everything's beautiful, and you hear this beautiful little melody. Da 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 ba da dee 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 dee. It's very beautiful. It's very pastoral. It's calming, right? 3 movies later, 9.5 hours later, when Frodo is in Mordor about to drop the ring in and he's scared, and Sam's thinking of home, and they talk about, I just can't wait till we get back to the Shire. Guess what you hear? That same tune. That's what Wagner does. And film composers stole it in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, and it's still a tradition even today. Again, think about it. John Williams, Darth Vader. You all just heard in your brains when I said Darth Vader. Bum, 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 ba bum, bum, ba bum. That's a leitmotif. It's the same idea. Right? Film composers actually will say that all film is an opera without all the singing. Right? So, back to Wagner. This ring cycle, which is what we deal with in this particular chapter, and probably the tune that's most famous that you would recognize from these operas, The Ride of the Valkyries. Now, I really want you to take the time and watch that silly Bugs Bunny cartoon that I linked into this module. What's opera, Doc? Nice little pun there to the "What's up, Doc" that Bugs always says. This is my single favorite Bugs Bunny cartoon of all time. One, because it actually does great service to Wagner. Every note that you hear is an actual note that Wagner wrote. They just changed the words up to fit this silly little cartoon. So it's really funny. It's cute. It's Elmer Fudd and Bugs at it again, but in a Wagnerian way. It's kind of silly because Bugs, as is typically the case, every once in a while, dresses up as a girl. Brunhilde, in this case, who's the lady with the horns, or in the operatic tradition, the fat lady. It's not over till the fat lady sings. So he plays that character here, which is a direct character from the Ring Cycle, Brunhilde. You probably have read about her already, or at least will. So it's a great, great cartoon. Gives you a little fun insight into Wagner himself. Also, whoever came up with Kill the Wabbit is a genius.